To go live here.
Welcome to the darkness.
Hello and Happy New Year, everybody out there in the interwebs. I'm so glad it's 2026.
Yeah, finally it's over.
I have two of my favorite people with me, Dirty Birdie and Doc.
Hey, everybody.
Yeah.
Happy New Year, everybody.
I am so happy. Yeah, for those of you who don't follow the old customs, make sure to blow a little bit of cinnamon inside your door tonight, like you're walking in the house. Take a tiny bit of cinnamon, doesn't have to be much, blow it inside your door. You do it on the first of the month and it brings you luck and prosperity. This being the first of the year, make sure you get that one done.
So where does that originate from?
I believe it was Celtic.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe it was Celtic, was the cinnamon, but I'd have to look that up to make sure. But yeah, it's definitely a custom that a lot of us follow. Tonight we have a great show.
Salt across the doorstep.
You can put, so after you blow in the cinnamon into your house on the first of every month, you take a tiny bit of salt, just a tiny bit, a table salt, and sprinkle it on your doorway on the outside of your door. And that keeps negative energy from crossing the threshold. Yeah. So blowing in luck and prosperity and then keeping anything negative out.
Yeah, and that's an old, what is that? Is that an old witchcraft custom type deal?
It's rooted in folk magic, it said. And and feng shui.
Feng shui.
Yeah. Most of that stuff comes from the old pagan beliefs, that's just old, and it's just ways to protect yourself, your house. Like I have quartz and obsidian on the four corners of my property, and I put up protection around the edges of my property all the time. And yeah, I've had friends say they can feel the protection as they're driving down the road. Like,
your house is like comfy. It's really strange. Sometimes I'm like, I got to get out of my own house, and I'll come visit you. I'm like, oh, it's peaceful and quiet here. I like this.
It does have a very peaceful feel.
It does. Yeah, I've worked really hard to get it to get it here. It was not peaceful when I moved into this place. Hey, Byron. Or Brian. Sorry, my eyes are watering terribly tonight. Okay, tonight we were going to talk about cryptids and some legends that we've looked up and been reading on. Birdie, you have a couple of cryptids you were going to talk about, but let's talk about just one of them first. So take one.
Pick one.
Pick one, because we're going to kind of go back and forth on these.
Okay, so one of them I found really interesting were the cryptids known as I'm probably going to say this wrong, but the Nimmergar. And they're legendary little people of Native American folklore. And
Nimmergar?
Nimmergar. Nimerigar. I'm probably saying it wrong.
Nimmergar.
Yeah. So they're these about 4 foot high little dwarves who are super vicious, cannibalistic, and would fight with the Shoshone and Bannock tribes up in the mountains around here.
Oh, wow.
And Montana and Wyoming. And one of the stories that I did hear is that these little creatures are incredibly fast, incredibly strong, and they go to when they go out to hunt, they can take down prey like 5 times their size using poison arrows.
Oh wow!
And one of the old legends that I came across, and I can't find it because I remember I wanted to talk about this if we talked about it before. I don't remember, but I remember I found it somewhere. I can't find it again, but in about, I want to say 1870, 1880, there was a story that came out of, I do believe it was Montana. Oh, no, it was Wyoming. And a rancher was going to check on his cattle, and he's on horseback. And one of these little people come flying out of a foxhole, jump in front of his horse, spook his horse, and the little creature in perfect English says, you can't come on my land. This is my hunting ground, and you need to leave." And the rancher just said, "No, these are my cattle, and I'll do what I want." And he like rode past it, and the next thing he knows is that he feels a sharp pain in the back of his right arm up here. He looks down, and there's a little arrow about like this sticking out of his arm. So he pulls it out. He does his thing. He pulls it out and covers it up, patches it up, does his thing, goes home, and a couple days later, he has to get that arm amputated off.
Wow.
Because it was poisoned.
A poison arrow, something on the arrow tip.
Uh-huh.
That's really interesting, Kelly. I haven't heard of the Numagar. I've heard of the Nunnabees, which the tribal people, the Shoshone Bannock here in Fort Hall, talk about the Nunnabees, but I've never heard of the Nunagar.
Yeah, that, and if you go back east, they might call them puckwudgies.
I've heard of that.
Mm-hmm. And
yeah, so they're little people, right? They're little.
The little people, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And they're not good.
No.
No.
Matter of fact, they were so feared that the Shoshone and Bannock tribes would not even go into their lands at all. They knew where their hunting grounds were. They knew where they would hang out, so they gave them wide berth.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
I think a lot of cultures have the little people. What's the? I think in the Hispanic culture we have little people in there. I forgot the name.
I know what you're talking about too.
Yeah, it's.
Well, it's interesting that so many cultures have them. So, I do believe that legends are based. There's got to be a kernel of truth in everything. It starts from something, right?
Yeah.
And absolutely.
I'm doing that now that you mention it. When I was doing this, doing research on the little people, I always thought it was like
Duendes.
Here, and then I heard about it on the East Coast. Then I heard about it in Alaska, and then I heard about them in Hawaii. Matter of fact.
Yeah, Hawaii has a lot of superstitions, legends, myths. Yes.
Yeah. The Night Marchers is one of my favorite legends from Hawaii.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I've read that.
Oh, that is so creepy but cool. So that's a little bit of the run-in or the rundown with the little people. There was something else I can't remember. Maybe I passed it up.
Hey, Joel, everybody in Pocatello is doing wonderful tonight. We're super excited that it's 2026 and we've left the dumpster fire that is 25 in the rear view mirror.
Amen. Good riddance.
If you guys don't follow astrology and you don't follow this kind of stuff, 2025 was the year of the snake. And the year of the snake is a very difficult year for everybody. It's the shedding of things that don't serve you. It's ending of relationships, it's ending of jobs. It's just a horrible time year to get through. But it's followed by Year of the Horse that gallops into adventure and moving forward, and that's where we're headed now, forward. Yeah. So
cool. Oh, yeah.
I took the legend of the rock ape of Vietnam.
Oh yeah.
Yes. This it's kind of interesting because I have a lot of all of my cousins actually served in Vietnam. They were much older than I was, and they served in Vietnam. They were all Marines. And I do remember them talking about this legend, talking about it with my mother, but I don't remember much about it. So I kind of, all of a sudden, I stumbled on it the other day, and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember them talking about this. So this was known as the Bat-tut, I think, or the. There's no way I'm saying the other word. Anyway, we're calling them the rock ape. They're both American GIs and North Vietnamese soldiers actually described seeing these things during the Vietnam War. They were bipedal, very much Bigfoot description, right? I don't know that they weren't as tall, though. They were between 5 and 7 feet tall, which is not nearly as tall as our Bigfoot here in North America. But that makes sense because of the foliage they're in and the jungle habitat. They probably had to be a little bit smaller, right?
Yes.
Very aggressive. They were very aggressive, and apparently they had a habit of chucking a lot of rocks, which the North American Bigfoot has. It does a lot of rock chucking.
Yep. I remember hearing about this story too, and these legends of the soldiers are American GIs doing their patrols, and they're getting huge rocks thrown at them, and then they look up, they think they're gonna like coming face to face with Viet Cong, and they look up there, and there's just a line of these creatures throwing rocks down on top of them, off of cliffs. And
yeah.
So another one was
that
another legend was that a platoon that was on patrol stumbled across one of these things, and they shot at it. It took off because they thought it was another Vietnamese soldier, but they thought it was in a ghillie suit. It takes off running through the jungle, and a little while later you can just hear, they swear up and down they heard people men screaming in Vietnamese, guns going off. So of course they go in there to take care of business, and when they get there, there was a small group of these Vietnamese soldiers ripped apart from one of these things, and they're like, well, we shot at it, we pushed it into this group, we heard them scream, so whatever did this is not supposed to be messed with.
Yeah, so these creatures were apparently didn't show a lot of fear of humans, and there was a lot of encounters, especially in it was in an area that they called Monkey Mountain. It was near Da Nang and the Central Highlands in Vietnam. So this thing, a lot of people wondered if it originated from, is a descendant of or precursor of the orangutan. But if you look at the drawing side by side, this thing looks more Bigfoot. It's just a smaller version of Bigfoot. It doesn't look anything like an orangutan. And the only thing that I could say could be orangutan-like is that it had kind of more of a protruding belly, which the orangutans kind of have. Mm-hmm. But other than that, it didn't seem from the drawings, the renderings that I looked at on there's U.S. troops and North Vietnamese have drawn of this thing. They don't look anything like that. What I'm curious about, let's say that this thing was there, maybe what did Agent Orange do to him?
Oh, wow.
To population. because I know what it did to our troops, and I know what it did, to the people, right? Because so my friends that served in Vietnam, most of them have had some sort of cancer if they had Agent Orange exposure.
Yeah.
So people that don't know what that is, that was a defoliation. So it was sprayed over large swaths of land to kill the vegetation so that we could see the troops, the enemy that we were fighting. So, yeah, but it coated everybody, and everybody
with all the troops there.
Yeah, no, they just need to end the war, so let's spray the defoliation thing, and within a few hours the leaves are dying. Yeah, it's bad news. Let's see. Joel said, I know there's been some Bigfoot sightings around Pocatello area. Oh, yeah. We'll get to those in a second. But so this rock ape, I think it was really interesting because they said so we know that chimps are physically strong because they actually have ripped the limbs off of people. That's how strong they are. They just, and these things are incredible. They were said to be incredibly strong. Like they could pull out trees and lift them in anger and things like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's the rock ape. I thought that was it was pretty interesting. I don't think it's a misidentified primate. I'm not a biologist. I'm a contaminant person. I deal in hazmat. So, but I'm always wondering, like, what does a contaminant do to our native population, our native species, and does it alter their behaviors? And what I've seen is it certainly does. Fish will swim away from contaminants if they are given the choice. I mean, animals naturally leave contaminated environments if they can. So
that'd be kind of like concerning to me, though, is that you have got a population of these incredibly smart, fast, and strong creatures, and then you dump chemicals on their home, and they get pushed into a population of people that didn't do anything wrong, and now they're gonna seek revenge because I don't know, or it might give them like wipe them out completely, and then we'll never know the answer.
Yeah, and there are discovery of species that happen all the time. We don't have every species identified, guys. We're still, and particularly in jungles, right? Because species can hide very, very well in very dense forests and jungle situations. There was a deer that was identified in the 90s that has like gills up here on their noses, the top of their nostrils.
Talking about.
Yeah. And that we had no idea it was there. Finally, biologists were able to get a photograph of this thing and said, oh my God, we didn't even know this thing exists. So it doesn't happen all the time, but we clearly don't have an ID on everything out there.
Yeah, jungles are fascinating.
Go ahead.
Wasn't there a type of not a weasel, it's not a stoat. They were looking for something else, and this stoat that hasn't been seen in the area for like 100 years just shows up on camera, and they're like, oh, we thought this thing was extinct. So it's
I think they also just found a jaguar in Arizona desert, I believe, in the wild. So I mean, whether it's new species or old species repopulating old habitats, I mean,
right?
We don't know.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. One of my friends worked for the New Mexico Game and Fish Department. He was a wildlife biologist there. He was retired, but he's retired now. But he told me of down in southern New Mexico on a ranch that he down by a ranch he managed. They had trapped, tagged, and collared a female cougar that's down there because they wanted to study their ranges, right?
Right.
They drove her up to the Raton Pass, which is northern New Mexico. It's way up in the mountains in the forests, and they let her go. So when you come down the Raton Pass, and I've been over that, when you drive down that and you come down back down into like central New Mexico, they went into for a meeting. So they dropped her off, came down to central New Mexico, had a meeting, stayed overnight, and then drove back down to back to their office in southern New Mexico, and looked up her caller information. She beat him back. Not fast. She beat him back. She ran the whole way to get back to her range.
Wow.
So it's pretty fascinating what these animals are capable of. Yeah.
That is interesting.
Imagine what that poor animal was thinking, especially if they left it in something else's territory. Oh, crap.
Yeah, like what is happening? These aren't my trees. She beat them back. I couldn't believe it. They did stay overnight. They stayed overnight in I forget I just love this city. I've been there. But anyway, they stayed overnight for a meeting, so they weren't in a hurry to get back, but it was only a 2-day trip. But that's how fast she made several hundred miles to get back.
Wow.
So, Doc, what did you have?
I researched the Tatty Bogle. The Tatty Bogle it's originated in Scotland.
Yes.
And it's a Scots dialect. The Tatty means potato, and Bogle refers to a ghost or goblin. So it's kind of it was a potato ghost, which kind of ironically fits for Idaho here, but yeah. So it's
basically, isn't it a?
They called it a harmless scarecrow.
Scarecrow. It's a scarecrow.
Yeah, that's exactly
but they're
what it was.
Really frightening looking things. Way more frightening than our scarecrows.
Yeah. So they would make them, I guess, to protect the crops, and blending. Yeah, they made them with farming tools, and then I guess it turned into a cultural significance to where all the folklore grew out of it, and let's see, malevolent. Forgive my. I
can't even say it now.
Malevolent goblin-like spirit.
Goblin.
There you go.
I've seen them where they use what do you call those, scythes? Like, what are the things that you whack wheat with?
Yeah,
for their arms. Like, they used farm implements.
Wow.
Like big. I mean, they were terrifying looking.
I haven't seen the picture of them, but yeah, I can imagine that would be, yeah. Well, but let's see, they called it the boogeyman figure and a crop mischief connections. Are agrarian heritage and superstitions.
Yeah, farming, right? Agrarian. Yeah. So what they would do, a lot of parents would take straw and they would lay it under the pillows. They'd put it under the pillows of their kids when they were sleeping. And when their kids would wake up, their parents would say, if you're not good, the Tatty Bogle will get you. And he was here last night. Check under your pillow. And the straw would be there. And the kids were terrified because the Tatty Bogles were the kids would be terrified to
and I thought Hispanics were the only ones that did the cucuy to the kids.
No. Okay, no. I remember the older kids in my grammar school telling me that there were vicious dwarves that lived under the school gym, and they ate all of the leftover cafeteria food. And that if we weren't good, they were going to put us down in the basement with the dwarves, and they would eat us. We were terrified of this cafeteria or gym. Yeah.
They did the same rumor back when I was in grade school, which was hilarious. And I remember just the group of kids that I was hanging out with. Okay, that I kind of pushed into believing and spreading this rumor, but they had to shut the school down. And I remember the principal had to go underneath this whole part of the school so that the rest of the kids would be able to go into class, because we got that same rumor going around, and nobody wanted to go into class anymore. But anyway, yeah, that's
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk about Joel was talking about, he put a comment in there about the Bigfoot sightings in and around the Pocatello area. Now, a few years ago, we did have one of the Bigfoot research companies coming out here. So a few months before they came out, there was 2 boys that were in the newspaper for a Bigfoot sighting.
Oh, right.
You remember that whole brouhaha thing?
Yeah.
Well, they turned out, they came out afterwards and said, look, the whole thing was faked, but they did it because the TV show was coming in and they wanted to, I forget which, Finding Bigfoot maybe was coming in?
Finding Bigfoot. I remember that whole episode.
Yeah, because the agency that I work for and our sister agency, basically, they had to pay. Finding Bigfoot had to pay. You have to pay if you're doing a commercial production on the forest or on public land. You have to pay the agency that manages that land for personnel, for overtime, because it's not like us going and filming, because we're not commercial. We're just doing our thing. But a commercial company coming in, you have to pay for all of this, people to be there to protect your site and make sure that you're not damaging the habitat and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, the whole thing was, but I have friends that grew up here. And I think you met Lynn Birdie on our team.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before she passed away, she grew up here. And Lynn absolutely would have laid her life down on the line to tell you that she did see a Bigfoot on Scout Mountain.
Yo.
Now, I used to joke with Lynn that she used to do a little smoke. I'm like, well, it wasn't, and she'd get all mad at me. But she swears. She swears.
Yeah. I remember hearing quite a few handful of Bigfoot reports coming out of the Pocatello area. I might have had some kind of encounter in McCammon. But one of the most compelling sightings that I heard was from a lady that used to work at our local grocery store up here. And I'd pop in every once in a while, like to get something to eat or something like that. And of course, everybody knows I'm a Bigfoot aficionado. I would usually have some type of Bigfoot shirt on. And she would always give me guff about Bigfoot because at the time, I think the Progressive commercials were out. And, it had that one where it's like everybody's doing all these like outdoor activities and he's trying to like photobomb them and stuff like that. And he's like, it's just so complicated. Everybody's having so much fun. Anyway, she kept saying, like, she'd point at my shirt and saying, his name's Daryl, right? And I'm like, yeah. And then one day I go up there and I'm getting something to eat and I'm the only one in her line. And she stops and she points at my shirt and I'm like, I know. His name's Daryl. And she's like, no, I've seen one. And I'm like, what? And she's like, I saw one. And she's like, I didn't want to say anything in front of like all these customers because it freaked them out. But yeah, she said when she went out to do a photo shoot because she was doing photography on the side, she got a brand new photo lens, one of those great big ones. And she was taking, I think, photos for senior photos. And if you drive, like you're going to the dump, but you pass Fort Hall Mine Road and you keep going down there, there's a little turn off to get access to the river. And she was doing
we have a new boat launch down there. Yeah,
new boat launch. And she was doing a photo shoot out there. She puts on her brand new lens. She's fiddling with the settings and she looks up and she goes like this. She points up to the top of the hill up there. She goes like this and brings it down and she brings it up again. And the lady that she was taking photos of, she's like, what are you doing? And she goes, there's a man up there watching us on top of the hill. And he's doing this behind the tree and then going back like this and going back. And she goes up there and looks up at it again, and it's doing the peekaboo behind the tree, which Sasquatch are known to do. And the other lady that was with her confirmed that, yeah, they watched this thing do this, and then the next time they look up to get a picture, it was gone. So yeah, Black Rock Canyon has got sightings up there, and that's where this was at. That mountain up there and it's got a few weird things going on up there, and yeah, there's
okay. So if you talked about, and we've talked about this on Midnight with Midnight Lycanthropy, right? With Lord Starfox, when you talk about animals and adaptations, one of the things we have, because Scout Mountain and that it's not that big. I mean, we do have elk meadows, so that whole eastern range of like that goes from elk meadows all the way down through past Malad and all that kind of stuff, right? What we do have are mine adits. That if these animals are really, really adaptive, they could use the old mine adits that have not been plugged, because if they're on private land, the federal agencies don't plug a mine adit if it's not on federal land. So there are private adits out there, which everybody calls them a tunnel or a shaft, but a shaft is an air vent. But the adit that goes horizontally into the side of the hill, if these animals are really adaptive, I bet that they could use some of these old adits as cover.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. There's a lot of natural caves out around here too that they could just burrow up in the wintertime, use them for getaway, like a getaway spot or something like that. Sure, but
so Joel also brought up the cow camp up by Soda Springs, and I think I know where you're talking about, because I work in the Soda area for a lot of my work. I think I know what you're talking about, and you're not the only one who said that they have seen something up there bipedal around that area. Some of the miners that I work with, absolutely, because they're out hunting, they're elk hunters, and they've seen stuff out there.
Yeah, I think I remember hearing a podcast episode about someone having a run-in with something up at Gunsight Mountain, and I don't know if that is Preston or Soda Springs area, or even Georgetown area.
I don't remember that. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that location. But so I think I've told you guys about this one of my friends, she's a hydrogeologist, and I work on some of the same projects with her. She works for a private firm, and she's not, how do I say this? She's exactly what you would think a hydrogeologist is, kind of like a physicist. They're kind of nerdy. You know what I'm saying? I mean, really, these people have a ton of education in them. They're really nerdy. They're great people, but they're a little bit nerdy. She's not one of flight of fancy, put it to you that way. And she was talking about this thing that happened to her on Scout Mountain. And I've told you this before, Bertie, and it's just fascinating to me because I can't get my hand around this, what happened to her.
Yeah, is that the one where she they are snowshoeing up at Silver Spires or Silver?
No, she's snowshoeing up Scout East Fork Scout Mountain Road, so it's closed in the winter. So like November 10th, 11th, something in there, those gates are closed so that you can protect the habitat for winter range for the deer, right? And the elk. Well, so she would snowshoe. She would take her cross-country skis and she would put them on her back. And then she was a long-distance runner. She would run and snowshoe all the way to the top of Scout Mountain Road, and then she'd ski down it. And that would be her exercise she's like, this gal was fit. Well, she'd done this for years. But as she's snowshoeing, and it's kind of getting later in the day, she got a late start. But as she's snowshoeing up, and it's a fresh snowpack, there's no prints. It's just her in the snow, and she's hoofing it up this road, and it gets really steep in the switchbacks up there, you know. And she gets up to the switchbacks and she looks down, and that's when she notices, she became aware for the first time that there were these large prints as large as her snowshoes that were barefoot prints in the snow in the middle of the road. And she said she stopped because she's like, whoa, wait, what? Like, she had tuned out. She was just in her zone. Yeah. So she started backing up to find the beginning of the prints. And they just appeared in the middle of the road. She said they didn't come up the slope and they didn't come down the slope. They were in the middle of the road, just like something just went poof in the middle of the road and then started hoofing it up the road.
Oh, wow.
And so she's like, what the hell? So she said she started snowshoeing and she's tracking it. She's just right next to the tracks, and these tracks are huge. And she said she got quite a ways up there and the darkness started falling, and she started getting a little freaked out because she's like, and then because as she's going, then the tracks stopped and they just left. They didn't go down, they didn't go up. And she said same thing, like something just was lifted up and taken away. And the same thing happened to her and her husband a couple of years later. Not far away, we have a where everybody takes their snow sleds up, like they call it Crystal Mountain or something like that.
Oh, Crystal
Park,
Crystal Spires, Crystal
something.
Peaks.
It's just past Scout Mountain, right? And it's up on the top. And then you would look down. I think that's Arbor Valley. Down. Yeah.
I've been up there.
And so they were going to camp overnight, snow camp overnight. So they took their sleds as far as they could get them up into the trees and then left them. And then they were going to walk up and pitch tent and camp overnight. I think that's crazy, but whatever.
In the snow?
Nope.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in like Tahoe, we would snow camp, but it's not cold like Idaho cold. It's different. You could do that in Tahoe and just have a few nips of whiskey and you're okay. But anyway, she said the same thing happened to them as they're snowshoeing through the trees. All of a sudden, her husband stopped and she actually ran into the back of him because he's pointing down at tracks. And they tried to find the beginning. There was no beginning. They just appeared in the middle of the trees and then they were gone in the middle of the trees.
Did they bother looking up? Did they bother looking up?
I know, right?
Yeah, because
I don't know if that'd be more. I don't know if what would be more terrifying going. If this is what I think it is, I'm already scared. And then you look up and you're like, no.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, craziness, isn't it?
Yeah. What
was your other cryptid, Birdie?
My other cryptid was the Shunka Warkin, which is a huge beast that used to roam the Wyoming and Montana wilderness. And when I was doing research of it, it used to roam around here too. And what it was is that in Shoshone legend, this thing, its name translates to carry off dogs. And it's a huge, almost werewolf-like creature that, for good reason, that these people would feared it. It was so big that it would snatch up dogs and the livestock and take them out to the woods and eat them.
Wow.
And I think in the 1880s there was a frontiersman, a group of them that shot and killed one of them in the Yellowstone area, and they named it Ringdocious something.
Why couldn't they have named it Fred?
Yeah,
I mean, you know what I'm saying? Ringdocious.
Ringdocus. Ringdocious. I guess. I don't know.
Ringdocious.
But they did.
Yeah,
they did.
Crazy.
Yeah,
they did. They put it on display. And I have seen pictures of it.
What was it? What do they call it scientifically?
scientifically.
Well, what is the legend of this cryptid? The name?
Shunka Warakeen. And it means it carries off dogs. So, and I don't know if we covered this with Lord Starfox, but they did have a species. They did have. I've seen the pictures of it, and it went to the Natural Museum of Idaho for a while, and then somebody of the family got it back and took it somewhere. I'll have to re-dig for it, but I know it's on display somewhere. If you
so they got an actual animal. They got one of these cryptids on display somewhere.
On display somewhere, yeah.
You know what's fascinating to me is that so many people are saying that the Smithsonian has so much of this stuff, and they won't allow anybody to see it. Now, why? You know what I'm saying? Like allegedly they have things that the military's captured.
Yeah, that goes back to the government hiding.
Yeah, but is the Smithsonian? I'd have to look this up. Is it government funded or is it private? I know it's part of the National Mall because you have all of the different museums, and I've been to. That's curious. I'm just wondering why, if they had this stuff, rather than having everybody talk about it for eons, why not show it?
It's I found it in 2007. They, after decades of obscurity, the mount is now housed in a Montana museum. So it's in Montana.
Oh, that's good to know. I'd like to go see it. Which museum?
I'll have to find it. I'll send you.
Let's go on a road trip.
Yeah, I think it's up in northern. I think it's up in northern Montana.
Oh, hey, I'm down. I want to go back to Libby anyway. So.
Okay.
Yeah, we need to do the Libby Hotel again, guys. So.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
The Smithsonian is a federal trust instrumentality of the United States.
So it's basically funded. It's part of the government. It's just under a trust. So which means that the government has all of the control, basically. They hire people to do all of this stuff, but then tell them what they can and cannot reveal.
Yeah.
Which sucks.
We'll give you the money, but you're going to do what we say.
Exactly. And if we tell you to bury this, then bury it. And the archives. I mean,
there's so many rumors about the Smithsonian hiding stuff, like the bones of giants and whatnot.
Exactly. Like they're supposed to be there. I think I even watched that on like the Joe Rogan podcast or something they were talking about, or Sean, one of those podcasts, one of the guys from the military who was there, who saw that thing being lifted out of Afghanistan.
Oh,
he's like, I was there.
The redheaded giant.
The redheaded giant. And now
giant, yep.
Mm-hmm. The Kandahar giant. So like, why hide this? Why hide it? Maybe they don't want people to go out and slaughter what's left.
That, or if you think about it business wise, that let's say that Sasquatch is without a doubt proven real to exist, and then therefore need to be protected. Now, who are you messing with here? You're messing with mining, you're messing with logging, you're messing with camping, fishing, $1 million businesses that all of a sudden people go, oh, these things are real and could like potentially hurt us. We're done.
Well, possibly, but you have to define their habitat in order to protect them. And they're so elusive, we can't do that. That's the thing.
I think it doesn't fit into the narrative that they've been feeding the world, or the American people, or even the world. I just don't think it fits into the stories and the narrative that we've been taught throughout the last couple hundred years.
Yeah, that could be. I mean,
without being a conspiracy theorist, of course, but you and I were both in the military, so we know that they're good.
people like it. My level probably aren't that great at keeping secrets, but there's a whole lot of people that were really good at keeping secrets.
Absolutely.
And when it's a risk of being jailed, you keep a secret.
Oh, yeah.
And that's
Jail
what it is.
or
They're not
worse.
playing. Right.
Yeah, jail or disappeared. Yeah.
Or disappeared. I don't know. It's really interesting. The thought for me in the science field, thinking that cryptids, like, could they actually really exist? Scientifically, the science part of me says we don't have really bones, DNA, scat, hair, what's going on. But we do have, and I know this from the presentations given at the Phenomenon from scientists, that they say that we do now have DNA taken from hair samples all over the North America, actually, at this point, that are unknown. They're unknown. It's not coming back to any known creature we have in the database. So, to me now, that's proof. So this year they laid that out.
Yeah. Nature is weird. Sometimes it throws curveballs, like this cryptid I was talking about. It could have been like you said, it could have been around forever. It's just hiding in caves in the foothills, and there's
and again, we're looking at it from our perspective in our realm. Who's to say that they aren't in a different realm? That's
the other theory.
Transpose, come over here and to our realm, and then head back to theirs when they're done. Or
that's the other theory, that they're able to use portals. They have the ability, and they know where these portals are, and they can just right through them. That's the theory that they have at Skinwalker Ranch. And one of the things that he was the head of. Anyway, Jay, or it'll come to me because, anyway, they were talking about, we need to research this because you can bet your bottom dollar that every other country out there is trying to research this to weaponize it.
Oh yeah.
If portals are real because of what they're finding, the phenomenon at Skinwalker, then China and Russia and all of these other countries are trying to figure out a way to get control of them.
I thought that they were already researching that. Didn't they have these people that do the, what was it, the where they could see into other locations? It's remote viewing. Remote viewing. They had them remote viewing into different realms, I believe, from some of the research that I had done in the past. But again, they couldn't prove that it was a different realm, because how are they going to prove it?
How do you know? Yeah, exactly.
How do you prove that? Yeah, that's actually, that's what they're looking at. But
yeah, our jobs as paranormal investigators is so hard because they're like, okay, well, we want solid proof, and if it is real and you can prove it, then you can prove it over and over and over again. And I'm like, our labs aren't in a lab. Our labs move around, and our test subjects, I hate to call them test subjects, they move around. They do,
which is why we never will, we never have charge anybody for what we do. When we do an investigation, it's because it's not a provable science. Yeah. Some would argue it's not science at all. It's just hocus pocus. It's our imagination. It's whatever. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how else to. Yeah, so Mad Max and Mudlover were sitting in my dining room today, and we were talking about stuff. And all of a sudden we heard clinking of bowls and dishes in my kitchen right there. And they looked over and I went, yeah, that's my dad. He loves it when I have company over here. He loved company. He loved parties. He loved to talk to people. So when people are here, he's making a fuss. And I'm like, "Yep, that's my dad." And they're like, "Hey, Bob, how you doing?" And there was nothing else going on in the kitchen. We're right there watching it.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be
That's
neat to
awesome.
see. Like,
Yeah. Like I mentioned earlier, I seen my my dog that passed away 10 years ago, and clearly got a glimpse of him twice already. And yeah, he's just been running in and out of the living room here.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
For
Hal. Little
about
Hal.
2 months after Earl died, he was my bloodhound who was a cadaver dog. So he did search and recovery dog. For about 2 months after he died, I could feel his pressure because he was about 140 pounds.
Mm.
And oh, my lover, yeah. See, she heard. Yeah, I'm not alive. She's watching. Woohoo! But for about 2 months, he was about 140 pounds. I think he was 138 when he died. He would lean. He had my bloodhounds have always had the habit of coming up next to me and leaning on me. They just lean in my hip. They'd lean. I don't think your house is haunted. I think it's you. Ha ha ha. Anyway, for about 2 months after he passed away, I'd feel the lean, and I'd reach down to pet his head, and he wasn't there.
Yeah.
So animals come back.
Yeah, no, I thought it was my other dog, but no, I clearly seen Hal.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Dirty Birdie, has Tub Cat come back?
I could have sworn I heard her snoring in the tub a couple of times.
See?
And I flipped the curtain over, and I'm like, okay. On one hand, cool, yay. On another hand, creepy.
No, it's cool. They want to stay with us. I think it's very cool. Yeah. I've seen my big. I had a 2,500 pound horse, big Percheron horse, and I see him on and off, standing under the big tree in the pasture. I'll look out, and there he is, and he'll swing that big head around. I mean, he was ginormous. You guys have seen him.
Yeah.
He'd swing that big head around and look right into the kitchen window, and I'm like, ooh. And then I look again, poof, he's gone. So he still comes around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are good gifts.
They are. So never, it's never creepy, man. They just want to be with their mom and dad, you know? Yeah. So I put up if you guys haven't, if you're true crime, if you like true crime, go to our new channel. Tristan and I are doing true crime. It's called Crime de la Cringe, but our handle is at Cringeworthy Crime on YouTube. So we're taking really old cases from the 1800s, and boy, are they graphic. We have to tone it down.
Wow.
Newspapers, printed stuff that YouTube would not allow you to say.
Wow.
So we've really
newspapers got away with quite a bit, and then somebody stepped in and said, "Nah, you got to tone it down."
Oh, you wouldn't believe how graphic. When they talk about a crime, it's like, wow, we can't say that. So anyway, it's kind of interesting to do these old cases. Yeah, so I don't think, gosh, we've talked to just about everything tonight. There was one thing that I thought I'd bring up here, because is this legend or, I don't know. So I'm going to start going through this story really fast for you. And I want to see where you go with this. So in Dirty Birdie, if you heard of this, don't spill the beans. Haha, because there's a legend in Scotland, again, of the Alexander Sawney bean. Have you heard of this?
I don't think so.
No.
They're sometimes named the Sandy bean, and they were a legendary figure. And this is throughout Scottish literature, but they cannot pinpoint the start of this. They can't figure out if this is true. There was a 45-member clan in Scotland in the 16th century that murdered and cannibalized over 1,000 people in 25 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So according to this legend, the clans were eventually caught by a search party sent by King James VI, and then they were finally executed for their crimes. Now, there was a movie based on this. What do you think it is, Bertie?
I know what it is.
Do you know which one it is, Doc?
Yes. Is it Wrong Turn or?
The
No.
Hills Have Eyes.
The Hills Have Eyes.
The Hills Have Eyes. There you go.
Yeah. So
Same
somebody
concept,
heard this.
different. Yeah.
Yeah, one of these writers read this legend and came up with that movie. So, according to, there was a publication way out back when it was in the it was in the 18th and 19th century called the Newgate Calendar, and they would print true crime stuff way back when. And there was a lot of fear about the printing of crime back in these days because they thought, well, if you print it, it's going to make more people do it. Yeah. But this Newgate Calendar was around for almost 100 years, or maybe a little over 100 years, and they printed true crime stories. So they were like the first true crime aficionados out there, and they talk about this Alexander Bean. He was born allegedly in East Lothian during the 16th century. His father was a ditch digger and a hedge trimmer, and Alexander tried to take up the family trade, but couldn't make it work. And he left home with a woman named Black Agnes Douglas.
Oof.
Her nickname was Black because she was dark, like mean. And she was accused of being a witch. And this is Scotland, you got to remember. So, and they started robbing and cannibalizing their victims. And that's how it started. And as they reproduced and had children, they were bringing the kids up to do the same thing. They produced 6 daughters, 8 sons, 14 granddaughters, 18 grandsons. And the grandchildren were all interbred. Let's put it that way.
Incestuous.
Yes. And because when you have inbreeding like that, you start having defects in features and everything else, which is why you're not supposed to marry your first cousin. You know what I mean? And they started, not only were they were very inbred and had kind of monstrous disfigurements, they were raging cannibals.
Wow.
And this is what they did. They would pickle the leftovers of body parts that they didn't consume right then and there so that they could keep them and then eat them later. And
not.
yeah, you know, so yeah, the king sent a party out. He was allegedly, again, that one night the Bean clan ambushed a married couple. They were riding back from a fair. They were on the horse and they were coming home. And the man was trained in combat and arms. He was a swordsman. And he also had a pistol, which was not very common back then. And he was able to hold them off. The wife fell from the horse and she did not meet his fate. He was able to get away. And he's the one who went back to the king and said, we've got to do something about this because he killed his wife. And that's when the king, James VI of Scotland, then sent out a detail to round these people up. Yeah, sister, mom, and uncle, dad stuff. They apparently there was a posse of several hundred men and bloodhounds. Bloodhounds originated in Scotland, and they found the members of the clan and rounded them up, and they were done away with. So that's the legend. It was printed in a paper that was the first true crime publication of its time. So I don't know. Real? Not real.
Yeah, now that you mentioned the story, it does ring a bell. Yeah, I think we talked about this before. They found them. I think they said that the clans were like hiding in like the caves.
They used caves, a cave system. And they were taken to the Tolbooth jail in Edinburgh. And they were transferred to either Susleith or Glasgow. And then they were actually burned at the stake.
Wow.
They were alive when all of that went down because they did such horrible crimes. Scotland, you know, they're like, how many people? I don't know. There's a lot of debate on whether or not this is real. What makes me think it could be is that the publication it was in.
Oh,
Because when I went back and started researching that publication, they were true crime. They were reporting crime as it happened.
wow.
Wow.
So, I don't know. So there you go. That's the original story of The Hills Have Eyes. I don't know if it's true. Creepy
Things
stuff.
that make you go,
Things that make you go, Yeah, for sure. All right, guys. Thank you for joining us on this New Year's episode. The whole lot of us should be back next week with more fascinating stories. We're going to have Mud Lover and Mad Max back on. They'll be traveling, but they're going to be with us. So, and hopefully Jesse's not feeling good, but she'll be back next week, hopefully. Fingers crossed. And for now, Happy New Year's. Blow the
Happy
cinnamon.
New Year's, folks.
Take care. Bye.
I almost forgot about the cinnamon. All right.